Welcome to Shenanigans Ensue with
Mary SanGiovanni!
And welcome back to Cosmic Shenanigans. No, there's nothing wrong with your iPhone or radio or however you're listening to this. No, Mary's voice didn't change. Brian Keene filling in for Mary, who is battling with a deadline right now. What we're doing on this week of Cosmic Shenanigans, we're going to have a roundtable discussion on a brand new horror film called The Endless, which is just a big old slice of cosmic horror. Mary is in on the discussion, as am I, as is our co-host on the horror show with Brian Keene, Dave Thomas, and a special guest, Matt Wilderson, from the podcast Grindcast, also the Grinded Word website. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the four of us talk about The Endless, and then we'll come back. Before we do that, though, I want to remind you that Mary's new novel, Behind the Door, speaking of cosmic horror, is up for pre-order right now in paperback and ebook, wherever books are sold. So you saw the movie first.
Yes.
You know, it's a science fiction horror film, which I think is all of our sweet spots.
Absolutely.
So what were your thoughts, Dave?
I was saying before, I think Spring is in my top 5. On reflection, I think The Endless is an even better movie than Spring.
Really?
Which is saying something.
Okay.
I was anticipating this ever since I saw that they were making another movie and it was playing at film festivals, and I kept trying to catch it somewhere around here. And the few times it played here, we're always doing something else, like say in New York or Philly or somewhere
right.
around. So I never got the chance to see it. So back in May, I'm sure you get them too. Amazon sends it to me. I was like, oh, new DVD's coming out. And I looked, and at the top was The End. So I'm like, yeah, finally! I was all excited. So I pre-ordered it. Refused to pay the extra shipping, so I got it 2 days after it came out. But Amazon Prime, I'm not going to spend the extra cash on shipping unless, it's medication or something.
Right.
Anyway, so we get it. That night, we watched it because I told Phoebe, because she also saw Spring and really enjoyed it. I said, okay, then, The Endless from the guys who made Spring, it's coming. So we get it, we watch it, we are blown out of the water. Mm-hmm. It is just such a good movie. Are we talking spoilers or are we not talking spoilers?
My notes have spoilers, but we can avoid it if you want.
I think we should try to avoid spoilers. I mean, we can give people a summary of the plot. Basically, there's these two brothers. Mm-hmm. They used to be involved in this UFO death cult, quote unquote. Yeah. They escaped that. Mm-hmm. Now they've been drawn back to the cult. Right. And weird shit happens over the weekend.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Honestly, that's all you want to know before
I would
you
equate
watch
it. I would say this without spoilers. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy Don Coscarelli's original Phantasm, you will probably enjoy the hell out of this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think
it's a spiritual successor to that in many ways.
If you're the slightest fan,
I'd be interested to hear
of
the connections.
Cosmic horror in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
You absolutely need to watch this. I think this is the greatest cosmic horror film ever made. Like I said, on reflection, I actually think it's a better movie than Spring, although Spring's still a great movie. I just cannot praise this movie enough. Most horror films these days put no thought into them.
You could tell is very carefully thought through.
Very carefully thought out and well planned and well executed, and everything makes sense. And you can tell they spent a shit ton of time on their script.
Yes,
and everything about this movie. And I don't know what the budget is. I don't think it's a big budget. I mean, all the money's on the screen. The movie looks great. The soundtrack and the sound effects work is really good.
Absolutely.
And there are some really, really effective scenes in the movie.
Yes.
There's a scene with a guy in a tent.
Yep.
That
oh my God, yes.
Genius.
Yes.
And there's a couple scenes like
scariest scene in the movie, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. when you think about it,
Right.
what it implies.
Yes.
And we're not going to get into spoilers, perhaps off the air.
You know what we're going to do? Command decision. Armand at the Project Entertainment Network keeps after us. He wants an exclusive show for patron subscribers.
Right.
For the network's patron subscribers. Let's make that an endless spoiler discussion.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Because
All right.
I have a question I want to ask.
Okay.
If you want to come back and join us for that.
I certainly will.
All right, excellent.
Okay.
Because I have a question I want to ask you guys. I'll have to ask you off the air now that I've been dying to ask you, but I cannot ask it now because people haven't seen the movie.
Save it for that discussion.
But again, I cannot recommend this enough. And I'm just going to say this right now, and again, this is without spoilers. They have this movie called Resolution, which is the first movie they made. That is tied into this movie.
Well, see, now he went and did what I said.
No, because what I want to say is, if you've never seen that, don't watch it before you watch The Endless.
Okay.
I think it's very important to watch it after you see The Endless.
Okay, so that's my question, and I'll throw that to you, Matt, because this is not marketed as a sequel. It's marketed as a standalone film.
Right.
And it is a standalone film. It works effectively as a standalone film. Had you seen the prior movie?
No, I had not.
Did you even know that Resolution tied into this before you watched it?
No, I had no idea.
Okay.
But I did do some research after I watched The Endless, and I know exactly what you're talking about, like what part comes back around.
Right.
And I thought that was very genius that they did that because it, without full force saying it, you make a universe almost out of the movies that you made.
Right.
Just with that one simple scene.
I've seen people online say that there's references to spring in The Endless, and I did not see that.
No.
I did not either.
Yeah.
After watching this, and Mary and I, we both realized we had seen Resolution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ashamed to admit I did not realize Resolution was Justin and Aaron.
Yeah, that's what
I knew them from Spring.
Spring, yeah.
And we follow each other on Twitter.
Well, see, we didn't watch Resolution until a couple nights ago, because we just had never seen it. And I'd seen before I watched The Endless, like online people say, they're kind of tied together, but you don't need to see it. So we didn't, and we both agreed, me and Phoebe, Resolution works better if you watch it after The Endless. So I highly recommend, if you've not seen Resolution, to watch The Endless first.
So watch the sequel first, and then watch the original.
Yes.
See, I did see Resolution, but I saw it like a while ago. I would have seen it, I guess, chronologically when it started,
when it came out.
When it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see why you'd say that. That makes sense. I think there's sort of a full circle aspect.
Well, you're our cosmic horror expert.
Why, thank you.
You have your own podcast, Cosmic Shenanigans. What did you think? I mean, cosmic horror wise, this was a huge cosmic horror.
Oh my
film.
God, it delighted me, and it's one of those movies.
She's got notes.
I have notes. I do.
This is why listeners prefer when Mary handles the critical.
I thought about bringing notes too, but I didn't want to be the nerd.
Oh, I totally nerded this out. I'm trying to keep them away from the microphone. So, okay. The reason I think it's a cosmic horror thing, the reason I think it definitely fits neatly into cosmic horror, I've been doing on Cosmic Shenanigans. I've been trying to sort of explore the idea of what the true horror of a horror movie is, because in a lot of movies, a lot of commercial horror movies, it's right in your face.
Oh yeah, jump scares galore.
Right.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to be scared of is in your face. In a movie like Endless, it's the dawning realization of what you're actually supposed to be horrified by.
Yeah, it's completely unknown, and that's the scary part. Yeah.
That I think is part of it's a cosmic horror. Not all cosmic horror does it well, but when it is done well, it's a beautiful thing to watch. See, for example, I'm going to try to do this without giving any spoilers. I know we weren't going to do any spoilers. A lot of cosmic horror uses cult members, right? Mm-hmm. But the cult members are almost always this sort of slavering, evil-minded group of people hell-bent on destruction. This movie is not like that. I mean, these are some quirky people, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not necessarily bad people.
They don't come across as dangerous.
They don't come across as dangerous. They don't come across as hostile. They don't come across as like, woohoo, let's set fire to the world. They just want to understand, as I have it in my notes, let's try to sound smart. They're just trying to make sense of life, its purpose, and overcome what may appear to be its ultimate futility. Okay? Now, a lot of cosmic horror has nihilism in it. in some cases, it could be considered resignation. But one thing I very much enjoyed about this movie is because it seems to support the idea that I've been running with, that modern cosmic horror tends to take more of an optimistic approach in the face of such nihilism or futility, that there's a resilience of human spirit and a refusal to accept being a small part of, and having no control over being a small part of something much bigger and more indifferent or hostile. What I loved about the movie really is the subtleties. There are some little subtleties, like the way it's, I guess you call it a cinematography thing, but the way they did it, they developed dread and awe at the same time, and it explores, without giving too much away, it explores a lot of, control of your own future, your own destiny, as opposed to some type of preordination, let's say, or fate, that it looks at life and death and kind of like what an ultimate happy ending or happily ever after really is, and I thought it was brilliantly done. It's subtle in a lot of parts, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying in its implications, and to me, that is like a perfectly successful cosmic horror movie.
One of
does
the
those
scariest
things.
movies I've ever seen.
Yes.
And most of the scary things is you thinking about what is actually happening to these people.
Exactly.
And again, I'm not going to say anything, but that's what I found fascinating. We had recently watched the movie They Remain, which is based on a Laird Barron short story. And it's kind of a similar plot. It's about two scientists who go to an area where a Charles Manson-type cult used to live, and they murdered people. They don't know how many. They keep saying that the body count's way higher than it.
Right.
And weird shit starts to happen. Mm-hmm. And we didn't like that nearly as much because it's way too ambiguous. I think in this kind of story, we have this where there may be something fucked up going on or may not.
Right.
I like the fact that eventually you get an answer.
Yes, there's surrealism, but there's an underlying logic to
it. It makes sense at the end.
Right.
Which I think is very important, and I think that's why this movie works, is because at the end, everything but one question is answered, and I cannot get into that question.
But I'm wondering if those things are, if they're leading to another movie that may be connected.
They have said yes.
Okay.
They said there's probably going to be another film.
So it's like a trilogy, basically.
Similar idea. They have not said.
Okay.
If that's their next film, or a bit down the road, or anything about what that might be. But
I mean, I've heard usually it takes about 3 movies before you finally start recognizing a director's name, and understanding like the work of a body of work. Well, this one this nailed it. I got to keep an eye out. Anything these guys do in the future, I'm on board. I'm ready.
When we were done watching it, we both said, why doesn't Netflix or Amazon give these guys money right now to make a TV show?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Whatever the fuck you want to make.
Right.
Make an anthology series. You want to make
I think an anthology series with them would be.
You know what
amazing.
I'd love to see? I'd love to see them on season 3 of True Detective.
Yeah. Holy hell, would that be amazing?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, sitting there watching The Endless. I'm like, oh my God, put these guys on True Detective.
Yes.
Or put them, if David Lynch doesn't want to do another season of Twin Peaks, put them on that.
A Twin Peaks
season
hell yeah.
for
those guys would be amazing.
Yep.
I think they're some of the few people on Earth that could do that justice.
Yep.
Right.
I'd love to see their version of Twin Peaks.
Or, not for nothing, I've written 50 books.
Yeah.
That's just something of mine. Yeah. Matt, you pop culture is your bread and butter. That's what you guys talk about every week. Movies and video games and comic books. So,
absolutely.
So, as the fan coming in and watching this, what was your perspective? I mean, you've already said it blew you away, but
it blew me away. I have to say the tone that they set with the movie, it kind of just grabs you from the very beginning, because the two characters themselves, they're just going through a mundane life, and you can tell the one brother's fine with it just because it's the one that he wants them to live because it's the safest route to go.
Right.
And the other one just can't stand it anymore. Because, and they say in the one thing, like, you remember what it's like when you used to eat fish, it wasn't in powder form because they were just eating ramen all the time. So, like, you could just tell from the very beginning there's tension.
Yeah.
And, then they get the tape and, he wants to go back, and then it just slightly builds more and more from there. And then, like, when you finally get to the camp, which I have to say, one part that made me laugh my ass off was when, and when you said, like, with cosmic horror movies, a lot of them show like it's the typical cult members that they all look crazy and everything. And this movie had that one guy.
The one crazy guy who I think was
Because he's
one of
just
my
standing there
favorites.
smiling with
The guy
the
in the
button
white
down
shirt,
I
yep.
was laughing my ass off because I was just like, this is what's going to be in there. But
and-
like, he's just there. He's the first thing they see when they come back is that guy.
And there's the shed guy who is
Oh, and
really
the
like
shed
the
guy.
typical like ranting crazy person,
shed
but he's
guy-
not a cult member.
The
I don't
shed
think.
guy. See, now I didn't find him scary, and I don't think you were supposed to find him scary.
No,
because it
no.
turns out he knew what the fuck time it was.
Right.
Yeah.
But the white button-down shirt guy,
Yeah.
for the
yeah.
limited exposure of scenes that he's in,
Yeah.
every time he appears, the
It's so
tension
big. Yes.
builds. It becomes a palpable
Yes.
thing.
Yep.
And-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, you mentioned the tape. Without giving any spoilers away, I would like to explore that off the air because I have questions.
Well, we're gonna do a spoiler discussion next, and that will be available to patron supporters of the Project Entertainment Network. But Matt, any other?
What I was going to say, as a horror movie, it works very well. I felt the writing was perfect. For two guys that are the directors, and I guess they don't really have a solid foot in acting, they were great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We were saying how just like sometimes like the little facial expressions,
Yeah.
Conveyed so much more than them saying or not saying anything. You
and
know?
there were some scenes where I thought, Justin, I was like, you could show a little more emotion in here, but like there was like a one scene where there was something scary going on. He showed no emotion, but I was like, that plays back to when they said you can't show fear.
Yep,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
it was like perfect.
Yep.
It worked great. But the way I saw the movie, like when I was done watching it, because I know everybody interprets things differently sometimes. What I got from this movie was that some people in life will choose to always just take the easy route.
Right.
Because, it's like the cultists. They had everything.
Right.
And they didn't want to diverge from that. And the older brother didn't want to change his ways because he liked being in control, and the younger brother wanted different things. And it wasn't until everybody realized everything that was going on that their lives could change. And I
Right.
feel like the analogy of the whole movie was just like you have this choice always
Right.
to make your life better, stay on the same path, or let it dive into obscurity.
And we often get stuck on the same
Yes.
path
Right.
and repeat our mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got out of
That
it.
without spoilers, that's actually ties into the movie.
Yeah. It's yes.
Yeah. I tweeted, and again we'll get into this in the spoiler, but I tweeted that Mary and I were going to watch it again right away, and again and again and again, referencing the plot of the film, and some dumbass is like, "Ooh, it can't be that good. You're going to watch it that many times."
There's always one guy.
There's always one. He's probably a Grindcast listener.
Yeah. Don't eat food.
I mean, my thoughts. It is a true horror masterpiece. It is a. We live this last decade. We've had so many good, new, groundbreaking
Yes.
horror films. Get Out, It Follows, etc., etc. But this is at the top
Oh,
of
absolutely.
the class.
Oh yeah.
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 If you like David Lynch, if you like Stuart Gordon, and again, if you like Don Coscarelli,
Right. Or even Brad Anderson.
Brad Anderson's another great. It's like all of them teamed up for this fever dream of Lovecraftian cosmic horror.
Which is exactly my sweet spot. Like this
Yeah.
is everything I ever wanted a movie to be.
Yeah.
yeah. So well done, golf clap.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Okay, so thank you once again for listening to this very special episode of Cosmic Shenanigans. Mary will be back next week. I have no idea what she's going to be talking about. Sometimes she doesn't know what she's going to be talking about until the morning Dave comes over to record her show, but it's always entertaining and enlightening. And once again, don't forget about Behind the Door, Mary's forthcoming new novel. It's a Kathy Ryan novel, and that is available for pre-order right now in paperback and Kindle at Amazon.com. If you enjoyed this show, you may also enjoy the horror show at Brian Keene, that's me, on which Mary is a co-host. And you may also enjoy engineer Dave Thomas's Twitch channel. He live streams most nights at twitch.tv/Meteor Notes. We'll see you next week. How does Mary usually sign off, Dave?
Just, I don't know.
I don't. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend that she says She says, "Dynamite!"
Do you love comic books and consider yourself a die-hard fan? Then you need to listen to Parlapod. We have news, reviews, and interviews with your favorite pros, all while bringing some serious laughs. New episodes drop every Wednesday in time for New Comic Book Day. Parlapod is available on the Project Entertainment Network, all major podcast outlets, and parlapod.com. Tune in and fuel your fandom with Parlapod.